material.
Okay, what's your question?
Does dental floss count? Because you have to tie the bait to the light, tie it and all that. So does
Okay.
dental floss count since it's not string or anything?
Yeah, so the actual fishing line you use does not count, but if you use
Mm,
dental floss like to connect two things or something like that, yeah, you can do that.
okay.
Yep. Great question.
We can't use fishing line at all, right?
You can use fishing line to like attach it, right? Like you gotta tie the fishing line. But the so if I got a pole and I got the line coming off of it and I tie my bait to that line, the line that it's attached to does not count. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So you could, let's say, I don't know, let's say I wanted to use like a bobby pin. I'm making stuff up now. A bobby pin and I don't know, a toy you have, an action figure, and I tie that together. You could count the string as a material if you wanted to. Zoe, that's not a bad idea. Just make sure it's like super original, right? So don't, for example, don't take one spinner bait and then the skirt off another spinner bait. Don't do that. But if you want to, like, if you use parts to make like a Frankenstein bait, I'm okay with that.
So I went fishing yesterday,
Yep.
and I tried to use my lure, but I didn't catch a fish with it. But it lasted like 12 casts,
That's awesome. That's really good.
and I didn't take pictures. So does it count?
Yeah, it counts. If you can get pictures of like the bait or whatever, then let me get those. Because you
Okay,
do
I
need
have pictures of it.
very good. Yeah, and if
Yeah,
you
neither
happen,
does count anything.
okay, well, I'm glad you tried. I'm very proud of you. If you happen to go again before Friday and you can get pictures, add those as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Good job, girls. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start class. Get a few people here. Before we get started, got a couple of notes. Make sure we talk about. Okay, talk about the bait project, your grades. So I graded all of your assignments. Here's the deal, guys. If you, whenever you do assignment before the due date, there should be a button in the top right corner that says turn in. If you don't hit that button, Google Classroom gives you a 0. Now, if I catch it, I can go back in and I can give you a grade. Because what happens a lot of times is you do your work, but you forget to turn it in. Okay, so some of you probably got some zeros, and then you probably saw your grade change because I went in and tried to fix it. The problem is it's very easy for me to miss those people who did it and got a 0. If that makes any sense. So I have to go through, and if I accidentally skip over your name, then it might stay a 0 because whenever you turn it in, it tells me, okay, so and so turn this assignment in, and then I grade it. Okay, so be very, very, very diligent. Okay, that means try really hard, pay attention to whenever you do an assignment, you hit that turn in button because it's super important. See what else we want to talk about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions before we move on about your grades or any of the things we've done so far?
I have a question.
What's up?
So, what necessarily counts as a bait?
So if you follow your rubric, you'll be fine. You're inventing the bait, so actually you get to decide that, right? You got
So,
you got to make something. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm not nearly concerned about you catching a fish as I am you following the engineering design process. Does that make sense?
so, if a fish is in bits and pieces, but if you still catch it, does it count?
What do you
Because I'm
mean?
thinking about using explosives.
Okay, that's
It's
illegal.
part of the bait.
Right, that's illegal. Like,
Oh, it
yeah,
is?
there's a law against using explosives for fishing for like fishing. So don't do that because you could get a big fine.
Okay.
Yep. But not a bad line of thought. I mean, obviously people have done that before, or it wouldn't be illegal, right? So Don't do that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move forward. Unless anybody else has any more questions. But good question, Kellen. Okay. All right. So last week we kind of had our introduction to viruses. We know that viruses are right now playing a very, very major role, not only in our lives but in the entire world. Pretty much the planet has come to a halt because of a virus, COVID-19. Before we go any further, what does COVID-19 mean? What is the name of this virus, the coronavirus, COVID-19? What does that mean? Anybody want to try? Go for it. Yes. Westbrook.
All right, so COVID means triangle, and so when you're getting tested for the coronavirus, you have a little screen that shows your results, right?
Okay.
And so it's a circle, and there are like little triangles around it. And so if you have the triangles around the circle, that means you have the coronavirus. And the 19 comes from it actually was here in 2019, so that's why they gave us the name COVID-19.
Okay.
That's what I think.
That's not a bad guess. Corona is a shape. You're right. I think it's more of crescent, but maybe triangle. I'll go with that. And COVID, COVID, means coronavirus, corona, V, virus, disease, D, and you're right, 19 is 2019 because it showed up in China in 2019. Today, we're specifically looking at human and animal viruses. We call them human and animal viruses, but honestly, it's one category because Monsters Inc. Nope, not quite, but it's right. I thought it was Nike Strand. No, that's a good guess, but it is 2019. Yet last week we checked out bacteriophage, which I think there was a little bit of confusion in some of your answers. Somebody clear up for us. What is you can unmute your mic and say the answer. What is a bacteriophage? Come on, guys.
Alright, I have a perfect guess.
Okay.
It's like bacteria, but it's in like a collage made by a first grader
Okay.
for art class, but it turned into a biochemical weapon.
Okay. Not quite. If y'all remember, guys, one of our lectures last week was about bacteriophage. It's not a bacteria at all. Okay, Tyra Taylor, yes ma'am. Jacob Hickman, very good. A bacteriophage, phage means virus, is a virus that attacks and kills bacteria. So we know that viruses attack cells, and a bacteria is a single-celled organism. So a bacteriophage, the name is a little bit confusing. A bacteriophage is a virus that attacks and potentially eventually kills bacteria. Okay, so in your question, what are some good uses that humans could use viruses for? What are some bad uses they could use them for? You guys, every last one of you did a great job with explaining some bad things people might could do with viruses. But I was looking for that in the good. I saw some good stuff, and some of you hit the nail right on the head. But it is a high chance that one day we will fight bacteria with bacteriophages. So if you have a bacterial infection, you'll go in, you'll get a shot that has viruses in it, and those viruses won't harm you, but they'll kill that bacteria. Okay? So good job to those of you who got that right, and those who didn't, we might need to revisit those class notes. But like I said today, we're focusing on human and animal viruses, and the viruses that can even infect us, their effects are so widespread. So it's kind of crazy. You could get a virus that barely even makes you sick. you may not even get sick at all, honestly. You could literally get infected with the virus and you don't even get sick. You could be infected with a virus and you just get a runny nose. The common cold, okay, everybody's had a cold. That is a virus. As a matter of fact, it's a type of coronavirus. And so even in that family, right, you can get a coronavirus that does not make you sick, really. Like a cold, yes, you don't feel that great. You get the runny nose, you get the cough, all that stuff, but it's not serious. Whereas you could get another type of virus that might last for the rest of your life. Herperial viruses, HIV viruses, there are many types, but once you get those viruses, they never leave you. You always have them from now on. There's no cure for them, you just got it. It may not kill you, but you're going to have it. And then you have every range in between. So one thing I want us to check out, I'm going to hit the present button real fast. Window. That's not right. Hold up. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Alright. Present. So I want to look at what do viruses, what do they look like? Okay, and now these are viruses that viruses that can affect humans and animals. Can y'all, somebody turn your mic off and tell me? Oop, where'd it go? Don't know what that is. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this right here, the one that looks like a snake, that is an example of what the Ebola virus looks like. Now, if you notice, it's got what's called a capsid, okay, and an envelope, and the main thing is it has RNA. Now, the capsid is made of proteins, right? So, a protein is a protein is a protein. The same proteins that make up your eggs that maybe you ate this morning, or if you ate some chicken last night, that was made of pure protein almost. Maybe a little bit of fat, but almost purely protein. Your muscles are made of protein. Your skin is made of protein. A lot of things that are alive have a lot of protein. And viruses have a capsid that is made of protein. Now that envelope, it's not a cell membrane, it's not a cell wall, it's different. But here's something that's very, 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 very important about that envelope. That envelope that you see on the outside of that Ebola virus, it's made of lipids. Okay, now, we've talked about lipids in class a little bit, but a lipid is always hydrophobic. Okay, now phobic means scared of. Hydro means water, scared of water. That's going to come in, it's going to be super important here later on. Other things that are made of lipids. Any oil is made of lipids. So, vegetable oil, canola oil. When your dad fries fish, he probably uses peanut oil. Those are lipids from peanuts. All fat is made of lipids. Okay, so if you eat a steak and there's a piece of fat, that's a hunk of lipids, basically. If you have a glass of water and you pour some oil in it, somebody unmute your mic because I can't see your screen right now. Tell me what happens if you pour some oil in a glass of water.
The oil floats on top.
Right. It doesn't mix up, does it?
It's super great.
No.
It's super great.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So the reason that's important is because when you have a virus, let's say I go to the gas station. Let's say I go to Love's. Okay, Love's is important because it's in between Memphis and Little Rock. So a lot of people stop at that gas station. Let's say somebody stops at Love's and they have the coronavirus. And 3 minutes ago, they coughed in their hand and then they got gas. And I come in right behind them and I get gas. Okay? Now I have that virus on my hand. If I touch my face, I am going to get the virus. No question about it. It's going to happen. However, we have this wonderful invention called soap. Okay? It seems super basic. It seems like it's not that big of a deal. But because of that envelope, okay? That envelope on the outside of that virus, you see that? That is very important because what soap does, it emulsifies emulsifies, you can look it up later, emulsifies those lipids, okay? And it pretty much shoots it away. So here's a cool experiment you can do. You can make your parents really, really happy and say, hey, Mom, I want to wash dishes tonight, okay? And when you do, notice something. If there's something really, really greasy, maybe you've got a pan that you fry some chicken in, I don't know, something with oil in it. Pour some water in there, and then on top of that, you can put like some pepper or something, so then you can see, and then drop a drop of water into it, and you will see it run away. It's crazy. Matter of fact, Wednesday when we meet again, I might set it up and show you guys what that looks like, because it's pretty cool. But literally, that's what happens to that virus, though. When you wash your hands with soap, and you wash it for at least 20 seconds, sing happy birthday twice, those lipids that are on the outside of that virus get emulsified, and when you put it in water, they fall straight off. Okay? That's a big deal. Now, if you look at this guy right here, this is not a picture of the coronavirus, but the coronavirus looks more like this right here. Okay? It has the envelope still, it has the capsids, and it has its RNA. These little guys right here, these little yellow things, same as these yellow things on the Ebola guy, those are protein receptors that hook up to your other cells. Okay, so they're creepy little fellas. Okay, let me go back to y'all. Okay, so that's what they look like. They can look much different. They can be hexagonal. That means like a hexagon with a body and legs. They can be a snake-like. They can be a ball. They can be a tube. They can be like a box. So they have a lot of different ways they can look. Two terms that you guys should know as far as sickness. Sometimes when you get a virus, it is an acute disease. Acute disease means that you have symptoms and they get worse over time, but then your body rid your body of the virus. Your immune system gets rid of it. The flu is acute. A cold. There's many of them, but those are some examples. But then you have a chronic disease. Chronic disease is much, much worse. Chronic disease means that you're either going to have it the rest of your life or it's going to kill you. So HIV is considered a chronic virus. The last thing we're going to talk about is there is a system that we have to classify viruses. It's called the Baltimore system. Okay. The Baltimore system pretty much puts them in groups. There's 7 groups of the Baltimore system. Every group contains viruses that humans and animals can get, but only 2 subgroups have viruses that plants can get. So plant viruses are much more rare than human and animal viruses, but they do exist. The way they're grouped is based on if they have RNA or DNA. Okay, it depends on whether it's a single strand of RNA or DNA or a double strand of RNA and DNA. And then last, they also classify them about how they make their RNA, or more specifically, how they make the messenger RNA that makes you get that virus. Okay, today might be more important than any of the days to check out your class notes. Okay, because there's more information in your class notes. As far as assignments go, I uploaded a kind of an activity that you don't have to really do any work. You just follow the page and you just do what it says. So make sure you click on that. And it's a really good way for you to see how viruses, their parts, and yeah, I know Westbrook. That rooster's going crazy, right? Sorry. So do that activity, and also you have Newsela. Now on your Newsela, I've put the instructions there, so read your instructions. But you have to do the quiz and the written portion, and copy and paste that to Google Classroom. Any questions? Let me check my message box over here. Kellen Baltimore was the name of the scientist that kind of put that together. So, what's wrong, Zoe? Zoe Leslie, what's wrong? Oh, That's not much work. All the only work you're doing is a Nuzella, so you'll be fine, I promise. Okay. All right, guys, that's all I have. So y'all can go ahead and log out. If you have questions, stick around and ask those questions. Charlie, put your answer in private comments, please. Okay. Good job. Great question.
Peace out.
Later, bud. It was his last name, Kellen. Yeah, his last name. All right, guys. Have a great day. I have no clue. I bet you, if you look it up, you'll find that I bet you Baltimore is named after a family, and that guy's probably from that same family. Okay?